Hello, everybody. It is Saturday, the 19th of November. Um, I want to talk about this thing, all shall be saved, and that maybe we are the ones we are waiting for. So, what shall we do? What is it we're supposed to do to become the ones that we're waiting for, to become the saviors of this world? And I want to show you where we are at and what we should be doing by showing you our development, by showing it in the development of a human being from a child to an adult, and also showing you where God is at the moment in those stages of development, and out of that, and also what has been happening with our knowledge that we have been given. That we have given to God, that way around, and to see what He's doing with it. And out of all of that, our way should kind of show itself. So I just had a conversation with somebody on under my last video, and just starting in the garden again in the fall. So what you must realize first of all, that God is the embodiment of the intention of to subdue nature, to rule over nature, to have dominion over this world. He is going to be the God of this world, and His will shall be done. That is His intention. So we were created out of the dust of this world, and through being connected with this world, we have the knowledge of it. And that knowledge should serve God, to give to His intention, to have dominion over this, to rule over this place. Now, Adam and Eve went and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, which obviously did not serve God's intention. Because what He's interested in is head knowledge, is scientific knowledge. The knowledge of good and bad is emotional knowledge. You feel that something is good or something is bad. And then that's an emotional opinion. And He's not interested in your opinion. He wants the scientific knowledge. He does not want your opinion. But hell, He needs it. He really does need it. That is what we should be given to Him. But I will show you this. So there was a fall, and it comes to the point where we are now saying, so then what are we? What is our purpose? If we are no longer serving the will of God, because that was the purpose we were created for, then what is our purpose if that is not it? It still is our purpose. It still is. It's just that we're not serving God by doing as we are told, following orders. But we're serving Him by giving to Him of our truth. And that is the fullness of our truth. That is not just scientific knowledge. That is emotional knowledge as well. So, as I said, I want to talk about how we develop from a human child into a human adult. And how we grow, especially in our emotional. I want to concentrate on the emotional knowledge, how we grow in emotional knowledge. And then show you where God is at the moment. So, from a baby, and once we have learned to use our hands and our feet, and we can see things around us, and we know we can, and therefore we shall, and we will touch this, that, and the other, because I can, and God forbid that our will shall not be done, because our wrath shall come upon our parents and everybody else around us, screaming, howling, and stamping of feet, throwing stuff. Because we can and we should. That's a terrible truth. And that is pretty much where God is at, emotionally. I mean, he's got scientific knowledge coming out of his ears, but emotionally he's about on that stage. He's a toddler. So in a human development, as what we learn next is we become aware of others around us. Yeah, it's not just us and what we want, but we become aware of others around us, and we see others interacting with each other. We see children play with each other, and we develop this desire to become a part of a group. And again, we learn at that stage that in order to become part of a group, no, your will cannot be done. That's not it. But it is giving and receiving compromises to create balance inside of the group so that all can be inside of that group, including yourself. So that is what we learn at that stage, which is pretty much primary school years. And that is actually the knowledge that Jesus brought. Now, he brought the knowledge of compassion. Compassion is a part of that, but it is not all. It is not all. If what it is actually, we're growing in empathy, which is emotional understanding of others. Compassion is a part of that. If you see somebody in hurting, or in a bad situation, and you have the desire, it can move you to compassion, to the desire to help. It can. That is part of that. But it can also out of an emotional understanding of yourself and of others. And you might even understand where that person is coming from through emotional knowing. But you might understand that he's wrong. It's not just one way. It is an emotional knowing of good and bad. Yeah, so it's not just it's all good, and you should be in compassion. Sometimes through the knowledge of the connectivity of all, that person is wrong. So, but that is the knowledge that Jesus brought. Now, I want to talk first of all the next stage that we go through as human beings, and that is we hit our teenage years. And that is the time when our eyes are being opened to the knowledge that the adults around us, those that have taught us, those that have led us, those that have set our boundaries, that they are not infallible. That is what we learn when we become teenagers. And again, at that stage, back in the garden, we were told that the Father is omnipresent, omnipotent, he knows it all, he is wise, and that is quite often the impression that a small child would get of an adult. They know it all. They can do whatever they want. They touch this, that, and the other, even though they're telling you not to. So, they must be all powerful. They can just do what they want. That is the view of a child, of an adult. And Jesus said, stay as children. Well, either that or grow up. Yeah? And realize that the Father is not infallible. In fact, the will to have dominion and it being all is not wise. We see the outcome of it in this world. We see it working, and we see the destruction that it causes. So no, it's not wise. But we know that most of all through our emotional knowing of good and bad. We know the outcomes and we know how we feel about it. Again, that is the knowledge God doesn't want. He doesn't want you to have it, and he doesn't want to hear it either. So then, how do we serve? How do we save all? Now, the way of Jesus again was that he gave that knowledge to the heavens. He gave that knowledge to the mighty, to God, to the ones that rule over this world. And what did God do with that knowledge once he received it? And I can see what he did with it, because again, it is manifesting in this world. Yeah? So the knowledge went up the ladder, and the instructions are coming down the ladder. And you can see what it is. You can see what it is working in this world. Because there were two parts. You know, Jesus brought this knowledge to the heavens. He opened the book. They read the story and they knew what they were looking at. Of course, there were two parts to that story. One was that, what we can do in prayer, the healing of one another, and with the energy of compassion. That was one part of the story. The other part of the story is that if a person is full on in compassion, and it is when you're full of an emotion, rational mind steps out of the way, it leaves the building. So Jesus went and self-destructed, completely self-destructed. Yeah, I give all, including my own life. That's self-destructing. And it was that knowledge, because, it doesn't actually matter what you're full of. Fear, wrath, compassion, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have the fullness of it, the rational mind will leave the building. So, that is the bit, again, that God used, because it would serve him. That is the bit that would serve his intention to rule over this world. Those were the little nuggets of gold that would serve him. And can I see this being used in this world at this moment? Yes, absolutely I can. It's manifesting. I can see it manifest in Europe, especially in my country, in Germany. Yeah? Where they've been filled with compassion for the Ukraine. They've been given a judgment of good and bad. Ukraine good, Russia bad. Filled with the compassion for the suffering of the people of Ukraine. And they are self-destructing. For myself, I ask nothing. Yeah? I will do without heating. I will do without food. I will... Filled with compassion for Ukraine, I am self-destructing, and that's what they're doing. And that is God's use of that knowledge. Because in the end, who does it serve? Who doesn't serve this wave of compassion? Sorry. Does it actually serve the people in the Ukraine? Yeah, you know them by their fruits. Does it actually serve the people in the Ukraine? And I can't see it doing anything much there. Or does it serve, again, a will to have dominion, something that wants to rule over, something that wants to take over the control of Europe once it is on its knees, once it has self-destructed, filled with compassion. And there you can see how the will to have dominion actually used that knowledge. And it is not in the way according to the way it was given, the thought with which it was given. This knowledge is not given to rule over, but to serve. And we were shown how it serves. It serves in healing and feeding and all of those things. So no, God got the knowledge, apparently, and it is still serving the overriding idea of to have dominion. So again, something we should have learned out of that story, and that is we cannot serve God or life at all by giving him the knowledge, because he does not use it to expand on an emotional level, because that's, the knowledge of compassion should have expanded the emotional level from the terrible twos to at least a desire to be part of something else, not rule over it, be part of it. Well, apparently that didn't work. You can see the outcome in this world, and that is not how that knowledge has been used. So that way does not work, apparently. So what do we do then? And there was another way, again, that came when the knowledge was given. And that was the way of, if they don't want to listen to you, do according to the knowledge and provoke them to jealousy. So then that is the other way, is no, we don't give that knowledge, to be used by God and the mighty, but we are becoming according to that knowledge ourselves. And we are creating a world according to that knowledge. Yeah? And then say, if you want to be a part of this world, you do according to the knowledge that was given, and use it in the correct way with the intention to serve, not to rule over. So then for me, the only way we can become the ones that we are waiting for is to see all of what I've just said and then become according to it, act according to it, speak according to it, create a world according to it. As for the will to have dominion, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. You can offer, but that is as far as you can go. Presumably they have free will, so it's their decision. And if they decide otherwise, then that is not on you. But as far as I can see, that is all we can do. So then, again, first of all, we must realize that God is not almighty, omnipresent, omnipotent, and wise. We must see that he is the fullness of just the will to rule over and to have dominion. We must see in this world that that is wrong. We must see that he is, through the actions that are described in the Bible, he's about on the emotional maturity of a toddler. And really, we must grow up. And we must become, I mean, we already are connected to one another. We have the desire to be connected to one another. And become teenagers and become rebellious and say, this is all wrong. This is not what I know to be true. This is not how I know good and bad, really deep down when you think about it and feel it. And then become your own truth. Grow up and become your own truth. Give it to one another, because you know what will happen if you give it to God. You're seeing the outcome. Anyway, I think I leave it at that for today. I hope this made sense. If you think that if you know this is truth, if you are in agreement, then please share my videos. Yeah, let me become part of a wider conversation. And if you want to help me, which would be greatly appreciated, the donate button is in the top corner of my homepage. There's a PayPal button there where you can donate. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.